What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV. Today we're looking at some more first look reticles. These are all of the Recon black market reticles, so every single unique reticle that you can get for the Recon site in the black market. There are 7 commons and 1 rare. The first common that we're looking at is the camper reticle. This one's kind of interesting because it's a different color. Like I've said in many of these videos, a lot of the reticles in this game are kind of orange or yellowish, and this reticle is kind of bright purple, and it's pretty nice. I mean, it's not that special really. It's kind of just a standard lambda kind of sight. I think it's got like 2 little dashes that come out of the side that barely, like, you can barely see them. They're kind of like clear, so they're not that special. They're not going to help you out that much, but it's an okay reticle if you are going to use it. I would recommend you use it at closer ranges just because it's pretty thick. The second reticle that we've moved on to is Power Alley. This one is really cool. They've always had a reticle that kind of looks like this in almost all of the games since they started allowing us to put on special fancy looking reticles. A reticle that comes down from the top instead of from the bottom. Most reticles you'll find there will be like artwork or some kind of thing that comes up from the bottom. The point, if it's say like an arrow, the bottom of the arrow will start at it'll start at the bottom and it'll come up to the point in the middle. This is one of those weird ones where it starts at the top and comes down to the point in the middle, which is kind of cool because it's not going to just obstruct your view of people below you. So say you're in a higher up area, it might help you. If you're aiming down on enemies, it might help you. If you're using a certain type of weapon, for example, the weapon that I'm using here, I found it to be pretty good on. Maybe it's not the best for sniper rifles or for somebody that you want to lie down and look up and try and find somebody, but it is a pretty cool reticle. The third reticle that we moved on to is the Black Ops 2 reticle. Now this one's weird. What does this have to do with Black Ops 2? I have no idea. It's just like a blue arrow. It doesn't really... I have no idea what it has to do with Black Ops 2. Somebody please explain this to me in the comment section down below. This is a very usable reticle. It's pretty nice. It's, well, yeah, it's an arrow, so I mean, you can't really go wrong with an arrow. It is a nice color. It doesn't blend into too many maps, so that's going to be helpful. The only thing that I would watch out for using this reticle is the Arctic maps. It will blend in with the Arctic maps a little bit because it's kind of a light, kind of icy blue, which makes it go nice with the ice camo that I'm using in the gameplay, but it's going to blend into Arctic environments. It's got like a blue arrow on top, and then underneath it, it's kind of more of a transparent white arrow as well, and it makes it a little bit thick, and you're going to notice it's going to get in your way a little bit on Arctic maps. On anything else, it's going to be completely fine to use. It's one of the better Recon black market reticles. That being said, I would still really like a explanation for why it's called the Black Ops 2 reticle. I can think of like 10 different other designs that would make more sense for a Black Ops 2 reticle. But we've moved on to target range drop. This is very similar to the Reflex Sight's target drop. In fact, it's the exact same, except for one little tiny detail. If you missed the last First Look Reticles episode, we talked about the black market reflex sights, and there was one called target drop, and it's the exact same as this, except it doesn't have a closed circle on the top. It has an open circle. When the circle comes around, it kind of stops just short of completing itself at the bottom of the circle, whereas on the Recon sight, the target range drop, the circle is complete. I don't know why. I don't know how they could get away with this. Like, oh yeah, these are 2 completely different reticles. Like, did 2 different people work on these reticles, or was it just one guy that was doing all the reticles and he was just like, you know what? I'm bored of this job. I don't want to make any more reticles. You know what? Let's just make the exact same one for the Recon as for the Reflex sight. The next reticle that we moved on to is Precision. This is another round reticle. It's pretty easy to use. It's round. It's got a little arrow inside of it. It's nothing super special. It is orange, so it will blend into a lot of the maps in this game. So it's probably not the best reticle, but it's definitely usable. It kind of reminds me of some of the campaign reticles for Recon sight. It's just similar to those a little bit, but again, it's a circle and it's orange. There's nothing special about this. If I unlock this in a supply drop opening, I'm not jumping up and down and cheering. It's a circle. I don't really care that much. We've moved on to the top secret reticle, which you're seeing on the BRM. For whatever reason, the actual gameplay clips from this point out got a little bit longer for these reticles. I guess I was doing really well with the final reticles. Maybe that's why they're the final ones in the list. Maybe they're maybe they're actually ranked from like worst to best or something like that, because you'll actually notice that it's going to be harder to unlock the top secret compass and hourglass reticles. Hourglass makes sense because it's rare, but the top secret and compass reticles, the compass is the next one you're going to be seeing, are both common, but I've seen much fewer. I haven't seen as many of the top secret and compass reticles as I have of everything else. So maybe these ones are a little bit more rare, even though they're still common. I'm not really sure. The top secret reticle is pretty easy to use. It's kind of like a red dot sight, more or less. It's got a very transparent kind of white outline that goes around it. I don't really know what that shape is supposed to be. I guess it's a cool shape. I don't know. But really, it's very transparent. You're going to be able to see through it pretty well. It's basically just a red dot for your Recon sight. We've moved on to compass. Compass is one of my favorite, if not my absolute favorite, Recon black market reticle sight. My favorite Recon black market reticle. Geez, that's a mouthful. But this one is just super cool because it's very simple, but it's really kind of fancy at the same time. It kind of reminds me of a bow and arrow, sort of. It's got this yellowish arrow head part where it's kind of like a full square. Okay, let's just start with the bottom. It is a full square with a little tab that comes off the top that you use to aim with. So the bottom part of the square is actually transparent, so it's not going to get in your way as much, but it still adds a nice little element to the reticle. Like I said, it looks like a bow and arrow to me, with the bottom transparent part being the string, being the drawstring being pulled back, and the top of the reticle, the orange part being, say, the bow itself, and the point being the arrow sticking past the bow. It just kind of looks like that to me, but it's a pretty cool reticle. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to track your targets with because it's not very obtrusive on your sight. It's not super huge. It's not going to get in your way. It's not super artistic either, and you might not like it for those reasons, but it's very practical and it's pretty cool looking at the same time. You don't see as many people using that reticle. The final reticle today is the only rare black market Recon reticle in the game, and that is Hourglass. And now Hourglass is not as easy to use. It's kind of thick. It's kind of ridiculous. You're probably going to want to use it on a close range weapon if you use it at all. That kind of point that you aim with right in the center of the hourglass, where the sand is kind of falling through the hourglass, is very thick. It's actually it's well, more or less realistic for an hourglass, where the top of the part that you're aiming with is actually wider than the bottom of it. So you're aiming with this wide kind of part of a reticle, and it makes it a little bit difficult to use at longer ranges. So if you're using it on something closer range, it's not as bad, but I would generally not recommend this sight apart from just using it to show off, maybe in a kill cam or something like that. Maybe use it on a secondary weapon or something just to kind of show off. I don't know, but it's really not that great for practicality. Like, that big, thick kind of spot that you're aiming with is not precise, and you're gonna lose your aim in that big, thick yellow part. The bottom part, where all the sand is at the bottom of the hourglass, is going to cover up enemies if they're in that area as well. So this one isn't as helpful. It's not the best. My personal favorite of today has got to be the compass reticle. Let me know what your favorite of the black market Recon reticles is in the comment section down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And that is just about it for today's video. We still have to do the Verix 3 Recon, or Verix 3 Recon. See, now I've got it all screwed up. The Verix 3 Black Market Reticles in the next First Look Reticles video. And then we've got 2 thermal reticles to cover. And that is every single reticle in the game, guys. Make sure you're subscribed so you can get those other videos. And I'll see you guys on the next one.